US President Donald Trump has spoken to Russian President Vladimir Putin and has urged him not to escalate the war in Ukraine. A lot of people remain tight-lipped about the phone call, but as per reports, certain people familiar with the call have said that this was Trump's first phone call after he has won the US elections, and he reminded Vladimir Putin of America's sizable military presence in Europe. And Trump has also expressed an interest in further conversation to discuss the resolution of the Ukraine war. Big developments taking place globally, wherein reports suggest that US President-elect Donald Trump has made a phone call to Vladimir Putin, and the emphasis has been to not further escalate the Ukraine war. My colleague Brian Thomas with us on the broadcast. Brian, take our viewers through the details that we know so far of this phone call that has taken place as per reports on the 7th of November. Brian, I'm going to request you to unmute yourself.
Devika, am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, Devika. So basically, I was saying, yes, Donald Trump has spoken with Russian President Vladimir Putin from his Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida, days after his very victory that has happened over the Democratic opponent Kamala Harris, and even it was reported that during the call. Yes, Donald Trump urged Putin to, avoid escalating the conflict in Ukraine and reminding him of, the significant military presence in Europe, as even said, by these anonymous sources as well, which was familiar with the conversation. And then also very important to note that, yes, Trump has also expressed his interest in further discussing, that was aimed at resolving the Ukraine war. And even his recent election win has also raised question about the potential shifts in US support for Ukraine, and even Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky also spoke with Trump just one day before he spoke to Putin, describing the call as excellent and affirming a commitment to the ongoing cooperation. And even Elon Musk, who's a notable backer of Trump, was also reportedly was a part of this, that call as well. Now, talking about the Biden administration, the Biden administration has also confirmed that it will also send as much as aid as possible to Ukraine before Trump's inauguration on January 20th, with National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan also stating that the goal is to position Ukraine strongly both on the battlefield and in negotiations also, and this includes also utilizing the remaining $6 billion also that is embarked for Ukraine. Now, even Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov also responded positively to Trump's outreach, rooting that Trump's peace-oriented message contrasts with previous, confrontational stances. However, Trump has also criticized, the U.S. funding for Ukraine, suggesting that it supports a pro-war network of defense contractors and policymakers as well. Now, Donald Trump Jr. also on his social media has also shared a video clip hitting at a potential reduction in U.S. support for Ukraine that captioned that, it's 38 days from losing their allowance. And then even Trump's former advisor Brian Lanza also told that Ukraine may need to abandon plans to reclaim Crimea that is occupied by Russia since 2014. And Lanza also clarified that he was not speaking on Trump's behalf, but suggested that US priority is peace and halting further loss of life. Viveka.
Okay, all right, Brian. Thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast. Meanwhile, Bangladesh is cracking down on supporters of US President Donald Trump, halting celebratory rallies planned in Dhaka and other cities. Security forces have conducted late-night raids, arresting several individuals for publicly supporting Trump's victory. This action comes after Trump condemned violence against Hindus, Christians and other minorities in Bangladesh, calling it barbaric. Trump's statement highlighted attacks and looting by mobs targeting Hindus and Christian communities. At the same time, Bangladesh's chief advisor Mohammad Yunus sent Trump a congratulatory message expressing hopes for future bilateral cooperation between the two nations. In his message, Yunus addressed Trump's remarks, reaffirming Bangladesh's commitment to peace and inclusivity. However, the crackdown underscores the tense relationship between Bangladesh's internal security policies and international concerns over the treatment of minorities. My colleague Belly Thomas with us on the broadcast. Belly, take our viewers through the details.
Devika, the Bangladeshi army and the police had engage in a crackdown of the protesters who were holding placards and the photographs of Donald Trump and were protesting, especially at the central Dhaka region. And these protesters, whom the police called conspirators, the police suspect that they were involved in subversive activities. And on further interrogation of these protesters, they apparently told the police that they had nothing to do with the US politics, but there was an audio recording of the former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, who instructed them or directed them to hold protests all over, prominent cities across Bangladesh, holding the posters of Donald Trump, and the audio recording also goes on to direct the protesters to take videographs of if any attacks that were made by the army or the police upon the protesters. So more than a dozen of people whom the police called as conspirators have been taken into custody, and they are being probed as to whether they were involved in the embezzlement of 1,000 crores of dollars, and even involved in genocide when the Sheikh Hasina's government was in place. So as of now, the Nobel Peace Prize winner Muhammad Yunus is being tasked with heading a caretaker government that is involved in bringing democratic reforms, as well as holding elections in the country. And the purpose of these protesters who are holding the posters of Donald Trump is to destabilize this government, and to following the orders of Sheikh Hasina is what we at present gather from the protesters or the sources of law enforcement agencies from Bangladesh, Devika.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.